Well, hello there. Just doing a quick little repair on the blade, so I thought I'd shoot a little video about catching your blade and kind of where it might fail prematurely and what to do about it. So this is a blade from a saber. I've just scored from an old buddy that doesn't do sabers anymore, so I'm making sure it kicks back into the second-hand market. So when it rocked up today, just noticed there was some, where he's obviously used it a little bit, there's some cracks showing on the blade tip. So what you can see there is kind of a spirally crack, one there and one further in. So it's important to inspect your blades regularly, because if you catch any cracks early, you can actually do a little repair on them and prolong the life of your blade and stop a failure where you might get a longer crack of a few inches. That means you've got to chop the tip off your blade and end up with a slightly shorter blade. So what you should do is inspect your blades regularly to see if there's any spirals. First off, I'll say, whilst all blades are susceptible to this, it tends to be the thin wall ones, just like this, which are more likely to break. And this is actually just a cheap mid-grade blade that's 2-3 years old. The guy hasn't used the saber much, but obviously he has given it a bit of a whack. Now you get these cracks forming when you're waving your saber around, and what will happen is your opponent's blade, or the floor or wall or anything else, will hit against the tip and kind of kink it in the end of the tube. So if you can imagine, if you had a tool in a tube and sort of wrenched it around a bit, it would probably try and force open the end of the tube and crack it. And that's exactly what's happening with your saber blades. So unfortunately, just through use, you're going to get cracking along the top of your blade, and it will start at the edge and work its way down the more you use it. Like I said, there you can see the two spirally cracks there and there. And I said it's more common on mid-grades than on heavy blades, but it does happen to most. Incidentally, this is why we tape the tips of our saber blades. So if you do get a catastrophic failure, this tip section doesn't come out, fly across the room, go through a window, or bounce off one of your spectators. Okay, so what do we do about this? Well, it's nice and easy. You get yourself one of these. It's a pipe cutter. You can pick them up for about $20 off Trade Me or your local engineering places, or sometimes a local emporium, or AliExpress probably has these for about $6-7. I haven't looked, but you can get cheap stuff shipped in. What you do, you put it on the pipe, and you just spin it around the pipe a couple of hundred times, and this little blade here eats into your polycarbonate on each turn. So it gently chews its way in, and what it does, it gives you a clean cut off the top of your blade. Okay, once you've done that and pulled this bit off, you'll have a bit of diffusion film sticking out. So what you do, you go down to the other end. If there's any hot glue kind of keeping that diffusion film in, you peel it off, lift it out a little bit, and then pull the diffusion film. Give yourself 8 inches or so. Just pull your diffusion film out the bottom of your blade. Okay, so what you're going to do is jump into your workshop, pop this cracked bit off with a bit of brute force, and rescue your tip. Okay, once you get your tip out, sounds a bit kinky. Once you get your blade tip on its own, you'll see there's kind of a little stepped assembly there. You just put some epoxy around the bottom of your blade tip, slot it into your tube and let it cure overnight. Once it's cured overnight, tap your diffusion film in, make sure it's not come unspiraled, make sure it's like rolled up flat with the flat edge down the bottom here. Okay, tap it into your tube so that it comes up flat against the bottom of the tip. Okay, once you've done that, you might have a bit of diffusion film stuck out the bottom of your blade. You'll need one of these with a nice thin blade on it. You can pick up a pack of 3 from a $2 shop. Okay, so what you should do is just go on the bottom of the blade there and just slowly saw your way through it. Don't push hard because you'll crinkle the diffusion film, but just chop your way through until you've got a nice flush fit. Like I said, make sure it's pushing up against the blade tip at that end, and once it does, just trim your blade diffusion material flat. Little tip, don't bother re-hot gluing it at the bottom of your blade. Hot glued diffusion film will actually cause a wrinkle or a crink in your blade when it creases, when it takes an impact and bends slightly. So most decent manufacturers like Lightsaber or Vader's Vault, they don't hot glue their diffusion film in at the bottom of the blade. Some still do, like Saber Forge, Ultra Sabers probably still do, but I just suggest not hot gluing it. And that's how you repair a saber blade that looks as though it's just about to fail with cracks in the tip. I've got one of my own Saber Trio mid-grades, which is just about to go as well, so I'll have to fix that this week. If you do miss the tips and it actually breaks off, it normally only breaks off a few inches, so what you do, you just chop the blade a little bit further down, and rather than a 37 you might end up with a 33-inch blade, so a little bit shorter than normal. You either just keep using it until you pick up another replacement, or find someone that likes a short blade, like a kid or something, who's struggling with a 37-inch, just swap them over. And that's the way to handle those. Okay, any questions, just ask. Genuinely wish I filmed this in landscape mode, not portfolio. But there we go, that's how to fix blades.